Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains. Gloria in excelsis Deo. In excelsis Deo.
Good morning. It is Saturday, December 10th, 2022, and this is the Knitting on the Float Vlogmas 2022. My name is Tracy, and I'm the host of the Knitting on the Float podcast. I have actually been up since 4. This is 3 days in a row now, as I adjust for the time change between London, then Toronto, and then Vancouver. So it's slowly taking me a little bit of time. It is a super rainy day today in the Vancouver area, and I'm just noticing how high the tide is. We've got a little over a 10-foot tide, and let's just take you. Oh, hello! Good morning! Oh, hello! How are you today? I wasn't expecting to see swans in this blustery day. This is Dancer. This is Prancer here, and they are here to, I guess say good morning. Anyway, the tide is super high, and as I mentioned, over 10 feet. We are just now at the turn of the tide. We've just passed it, so the tide is going to be going down, but it's not going to be going down all that low. It's going to go down to a 7-foot. But if you look at these posts right here, there's a piece of wood that goes under there, and I can usually tell if it's really high, the water level is over that wood. Anyway, I forgot to get the mail yesterday, so I have come out and I am braving this weather to go up and check the mail, and I was rewarded to see my beautiful swans. The other way you could tell that it is a high tide is the slope of the ramp is really not very pronounced. We don't get mail on Saturdays in Canada. However, when you don't check the mail on Friday, you get the mail on Saturday. It is really chilly out here. I put on the warm coat and the hat. I didn't put on gloves though, because I just thought I'm just running up to the mailbox, but oh my gosh, it is cold. And there are my swannies. Oh, I would not want to go swimming today. So you know what I'm gonna do? I am going to be super careful, and I'm gonna grab onto the railing right there as I round the bend, because becoming a river rat on a cold December day is not my goal in life. It really isn't. Another way I can tell that the tide is high is that the piling there that has the sign, when the water level is up close to where that white sign is across the river, you know that the tide is really quite high. In January, we will have the king tides coming, so it will get higher than this. And there is a lot of debris coming upstream, although, as I mentioned, the tide is going to turn shortly and things will start going towards the Pacific. But in the meantime, these ones here are coming towards the Pacific. Just peeked out the window. Oh my gosh, there's the seal. The seal must have a fish. And the eagle, oh my gosh, it is fighting something. I'm not sure what the seal has, but I don't see the seal come up very often. But there he is. The eagle's dive bombing. Here comes seagull in for it, but the seal has a fish, and the eagle is circling. He wants some of that action too. They don't always get this close to the house, but interesting things happening. There's the seal again. And that other thing in front is just a log. Not sure why the seal keeps coming up, whether he's just watching out for the eagle, which is flying around. Wow, that's an amazing day on the river. I very rarely see him come up that much. Sometimes I see his head pop up like a dog, but I guess with all this high tide, there's lots of fish, and that means lots of food. Anyway, I was glad to capture that. The seagulls over here are flocking around. And oh my gosh, look at all of the debris coming down the river. And there's the seal again. And I hear the geese. Quite a large flock of geese going out for the day. And debris, seals, lots of action on the river. High tide has brought a lot of fun this morning. It is still quite early in the day, and I've been up since shortly after 4. But I have something that's really stressing me out that I need to deal with today. So I'm going to show you what that is. That is the state of my knitting table. My knitting table looks a little bit overwhelming because when I came home, I unpacked my 3 suitcases and I basically put anything to do with knitting or knitwear onto the table. So it's making me feel a little bit uneasy and overwhelmed right now. Last night, I did want to cast this on, but I knew better because if I cast this on, then that's adding another whip to my already large whip pile. And that does start to make me feel uneasy. So my 2 butterfly wraps, I need to put the yarn somewhere safe, but somewhere that I can easily get to it when I decide which of these 2 to cast on for the Dreaming of Butterflies wrap kit. I have actually been working a little bit on my secret test knit that has been in my Nancy Drew bag for yesterday. I worked on it. This morning I've worked on it a little bit. So my goal is I want this off of the needles. This got a little bit of love in England. I took it to England with me and it did get a little bit of action, but I did not finish it. That had been my hopeful goal, but in the next few days I think I will complete this project and that will feel really, really good. So I'm going to keep this close by because I want to get it off the needles and free some needles. This project here, this was my rose petal sandwich socks. And they are in the exact same condition that they were in when I took them to England. So no work got done on these at all. I did have a couple of projects that I didn't work on at all. And that took up a little bit of room in my suitcase. So that's how that goes. Now I have these 3 skeins of Katona, and I've actually made a wondrous dishcloth with half of the green, I've got to put that in my drawer. And then I'll put these 3 things of Katona with my other Katona. When I was in England, I picked up these recipes from Waitrose. So I have baked apple with salted caramel, orangey millionaire's shortbread, and then festive eggs royale. I think I can do without the caviar on those. So I want to put these somewhere safe because it would be nice to do those. This is my sky map wrap, and I think one day we'll chatter about this because this is something got a tiny bit of love on the holiday, and ironically, not just from me. So I'll share a little bit about this in the days ahead. But for now, I need to get it off of the table and out of my line of vision because it's getting a little bit too overwhelming. This was my Tracy's test knit bag, and this has my yarn from the Christmas Eve cast on pattern, and my brain is starting to short out on me by the fire socks. So I need to put the yarn maybe into my yarn jar or find somewhere to put these gorgeous skeins of yarn. So, and then I'll pack this project bag away for a little bit. This is a piece of paper that Nathaniel left on my table, and this is for his costume for the big bad wolf, so that needs to go away. And this piece of paper is for a pattern, so I should get that out of the way. Here is my Notion pouch. I need to go through this, take out anything that should be put away, and then put the Notion pouch where it is easy access. Here is my Mind the Gap. This is the case for my tripod. These are my Mind the Gap mittens, and I've also got a cord in there because this became my on the plane grab bag. So I've got battery cases and paraphernalia in there, so I've got to go through that as well. And then I have some gorgeous yarns and some stuff I'll share with you another day that I'm going to keep hidden. I took my beautiful All Sorts of Fun by Turtle Pearl yarn with me. I did not do anything with that. It needs to be put away. Oh, that's another treat that I will share. My Villains yarns, which I shared with you yesterday, and my Saju need to be put away safely. And here is my Mind the Gap socks that I started, and would be nice to do some work on those once I finish what is in Nancy Drew. These are the knits that I wore and took with me while I was away. So I have, you know, I brought these fingerless mitts, but you know what? I ended up wearing full mittens most of the time. Here's my snuggle down cowl. I need to put that back. And this is my Skyline wrap, which got worn as well. So those need to be put away properly. On the knitting table here, my By the Fire socks. Need to put those away. And then I have my gorgeous handmade bag by Sam and Christine. And in here is my second Oddments cowl, which got a tiny bit of love on the journey home, not a whole lot, and a little bit of work done when I was at my mom's. So I started this when I left, and I got some done. And then this is my Second Avenue wrap in here. It didn't get worked on at all, so that needs to be put away. And this is my new Lumos light, which I shared with you on my last podcast. So probably needs a good charge, and then it'll be ready for when I wake up at 4 in the morning. And maybe can work on something. Anyway, just gonna straighten these up a little bit, put things away, and that will feel so much better. The state of the knitting table often affects / reflects my mental state, and I have put some things away. I have left a few projects out. I like to have a couple of projects that I can easily reach and grab. Sometimes I'll put them in the drawers, and I've got it now to a place where I feel a little bit calmer. I have also, from one of the drawers, retrieved my lovely hot water bottle. This is the Hexie hot water bottle pattern. This was a test sew that I did for Jewels of So Sweet Violet. I have filled it up with nice warm water. I'm going to stick that behind my back, and let me show you the knitting table. It still has stuff on it, but it's now a little bit more the way I like it. I have brought out my little tray of notions. It needs to be straightened a tiny bit, but my scissors, easy access to progress keepers, and things like that. I've got a few sewing things on there as well. And I have the 4 projects that I am currently wanting to put most of my attention on. So I have my secret test knit. I have my oddments cowl that would be nice to finish because I would like to give that as a gift for Christmas. I have in here my Mind the Gap socks, and then this is the bag I usually put my camera in, but I have put my Mind the Gap mittens in here. So 4 projects that are easy to access, and whatever my mental capacity is that time. I've got a little bit of lace in the oddments cowl, and then the other ones are some easier to pick up than others, but it's a little bit more bearable to only look at 4 projects, and they're all very small projects. So as I said, need to straighten this, but otherwise the state of the knitting table is so much better. I just went and spilled cold tea on myself. So what do you do when that happens? You put the kettle on so you can make another cup of tea, and you just go with the flow from there. I have a nice warm hot water bottle behind my back, and I have some calm projects in front of me now that I have cleaned up the knitting table. I am looking forward to doing a little bit of editing, doing a little bit of knitting, and doing some catch up on Survivor and The Amazing Race, because while I was away, I missed several weeks, so I'm catching up on that. And today I am going to have a calm rest of December 10th. I am wishing you a wonderful day wherever you are, whatever day it is for you, and I look forward to seeing you for Vlogmas Day 11 tomorrow. Bye.
In excelsis Deo, Gloria, in excelsis Deo.
It is super cold out here. Tide is turning. But I guess now that we live in Vancouver, Greg seems to think that it is perfectly appropriate to wear shorts on this cold December day. Are you crazy?
California North.
What's that?
California North.
California North. Oh, California crazy.